Oh my goodness. Sister, today I have some goodness for you. Well, actually, when don't I have goodness, right? I think you get a lot of goodness out of this podcast, don't you? I hope so. I hope so. Well, sister, today I'm going to be talking about a woman who is so amazing and special. She is found in the Bible, in the New Testament specifically, and she is such a great example of a deep connection with God, having such a deep connection with God. So, sister, are you ready to look at a real biblical example of one of our sisters in the faith, an amazing prophetess, a woman who had such a deep connection with God? You can see from her life, you can see in just a few verses. Are you ready to learn from her? Well, I'm ready to share what I have learned with you.
Are you so busy and overwhelmed that you can't get enough time to connect with God? Are distractions robbing you of your time with Jesus? Is your motivation to spend time in the Word just not what it used to be? Do you want to be more consistent in your personal Bible study? Welcome home, sister. I'm Rosie, a mom, wife, teacher, and devoted disciple of Jesus. And like you, I struggled to stay consistent with my Bible study. When life got busy, I felt so overwhelmed that spending time in God's Word was no longer a priority. In my hardest seasons of life, my motivation to be in the Bible grew weak. I lost my convictions and walked away from God. But by His grace, my faith was restored, and with a conviction to never take God's Word for granted again. If you're tired of letting the enemy steal away your time, energy, focus, and motivation, then sister, this podcast is for you. So go reheat your coffee, dust off your journal and Bible, and get ready to take back your time.
Talking about connecting deeply with God. Sister, have you heard? Have you heard? Okay, tomorrow, Tuesday, August 1st at noon Eastern Standard Time, in my community, exclusively inside my community, intentional Bible study for Christian women. You can find it right there in the episode details, okay? bit.ly/let's be intentional. Right inside, you are going to get me live for 45 minutes teaching you. It's a workshop, okay? So I'm going to be teaching you the 4 steps to a deeper connection with God. The 4 steps to deeply connecting to your first love. That's the title of the workshop. Okay. There are 4 steps. And if you heard the last episode, I taught you the first one. Okay. So if you didn't hear it, go ahead and go back and listen because it's powerful and it's already something you can start putting to practice. The rest of the 3 you're going to find only in this workshop, sister. So if you're listening after August 1st, no worries. You can always go in there and watch and listen to the recording and just get into the group. I'll approve you and you can join into the group. As so get ready to come in with a heart to learn, with an open heart to just hear what God has to tell you. I'm using scriptures, I'm using practicals, tacticals. Sister, you're not going to want to miss this. All right, sister, I am so excited and I can't wait. I can't wait to meet you in there. And here's the other thing too. There's something, well, aside from the door prizes. So if you're in there live, you may have a chance to win a door prize, okay? But if you're not in there live, that's okay. You're still going to have a chance if you are listening within the first 5 days of this live, okay? You're going to have a special offer from me that you're not going to get at any other time, anytime soon. That's for sure. So I want you to listen in, and if you're listening late, like I said, you can still get in there. You have 5 days to act on what I have to give to you. Okay, sister? All right. So if you are like, Rosie, can you just help me now? Like, I need this help. I need to go all the way through those 4 steps. Please help me. At least help me get started. I am here. I am your mentor, and I want to teach you these ways. And I want to walk you through them and give you all the resources you need and more in order to get you going into getting a deeper relationship with God and having a consistent Bible study routine. All right. I'm with you. I'm going to be walking with you every step of the way. So go to theintentionalchristianwoman.com and book an appointment with me. Book a call. It's only 60 minutes, okay? And I'm going to help you get there. All right, sister? So now that we're going to be looking at connection a little more deeply, I want to study a little bit about this one woman, and there are many women in the Bible that are great examples. But I want to look at one today that perhaps you may have overlooked. Maybe you haven't, but it's not someone we hear about all the time. She is found in the New Testament. She's a special, special lady, and her name is Anna the Prophetess. Have you heard of her? All right. So her story is just found in a couple of verses, and she is found in Luke chapter 2, verse 36 through 38. So I'll start by reading those verses, and we're going to chat about and talk about the ways why is she such a woman that is the example of deep connection and how we can follow her example. So here we go. There was also a prophetess Anna, the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher. She was very old. She had lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage and then was a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple but worshipped night and day, fasting and praying. Coming up to them at that very moment, she gave thanks to God and spoke about the child to all who were looking forward to the redemption of Jerusalem. And who's them? Who did she speak to? She was addressing specifically Mary and Joseph. And earlier, Simeon was there and gave a blessing to Mary to Jesus. Basically, Simeon was a prophet that was there as well. But Anna was there and she was just, you can just imagine her 80, she was potentially 84 years old, okay? And she had been a widow all those years, so she was only married for 7 years. So most of her life she was living as a widow. Number one, I want to say something about Anna and how pretty much ever since her husband had passed, she was living in the temple. She never left. So the fact that she did that, she decided to dedicate her life. I mean, she's a prophetess, but just someone who decided to stay single and stay only dedicated to the worship of God and being close to God. She could have been bitter, upset. She could have been like, "Well, I want to start my life again. I got to find someone else." And that's fine. And she could have had every right to remarry. If you're a widow, you're for sure. I mean, come on, right? Like, why not? But she was dedicated. She said, "I am dedicating my life to God." I just can imagine the dedication. I don't know what she said because this is all that is in the Bible. I can just imagine the moment she decided to stay in the temple and continue and just be completely, completely dedicated to God. The other thing that I want you to know is that she is one of the few women, the few people, period. She's the only woman that actually was recognized, that the tribe that she's from was recognized in the New Testament. Okay, so that was something that didn't really happen much. The only times you see it in the New Testament where their tribe was listed was Jesus, which is from the house and lineage of David and the tribe of Judah. And that's in Luke 2:4 and Matthew 1 through 16. And then the other time you have Saul, which became Paul, of the tribe of Benjamin in Philippians 3:5. And then you have Barnabas, which is a Levite in Acts 4:36. And then, of course, there was Anna, the only woman whose tribe was named. So you gotta see how important this woman is to have been named in the New Testament, to have been recognized, a woman of social standing in her community as an elder. And so she was just really a special, special lady. But she didn't just wasn't born a special lady. Like we're all born special because of course we are all daughters and sons of God. Like we are special because we are children of God, right? But she became like this phenomenal woman that people would look up to in her community. And she didn't just do that overnight. Like this woman, notice what it says in the scriptures. And this is where I want to talk about the connection here, because there was a reason why she was so connected to God. And God, imagine that God found so much favor in her that he allowed her to meet baby Jesus. The only woman at that point besides Mary, that's at least that was named, that actually gets to go face to face with Jesus, and she knows who he is. So not everybody knew who he was. But then she sees him, she praises immediately God and says, God, God, Lord Father, praise be to you. I can't imagine how that praise went. And started telling everyone that wanted to know about the Redeemer. He started telling all the good news, already started spreading the good news about Jesus. That's a prophetess. Okay, so how is this relevant to you and me? Well, let me tell you something. I want you to listen to me right now, very attentively, sister. You are a prophetess. You are a daughter of God. So am I. We are prophetesses. We are chosen. We are a royal priesthood, a holy nation, it says in the Bible. Okay? So you and I are prophetesses of God. Make no mistake that that is a fact. So the fact that you are a prophetess of God, sister, you better believe that God is wanting a deep connection with you. And I know, I can see it. Anna, she prayed every day. She fasted oh my gosh, she fasted often. She didn't say every day, but she fasted often. Like often. Like, I don't know, at least a few times a week, maybe more, right? Like for me, lately I've been fasting once a week, praying for a few of the sisters in our churches are doing that right now. I don't do it all the time, but she like did this, you know, often. So right there, I know that when I fast, I focus on what I'm praying for. I pray more often. I'm literally more focused, period, in my productivity, believe it or not. It's so good. And she fasted often and she prayed all the time. Like she was in there every day praying. And I know we talk about reading the Bible and that's how we connect with God. Yes, because that's how we're hearing from God. Understand that back then they didn't have like a Bible. They had, of course, texts, scriptures from the Old Testament that they would hear rabbis read out on a Saturday or whenever they were doing it. Usually it's and they would, read in the temple. So that's how you would hear. So yes, people would hear from the Word of God, but really the connection that they had back then was the prayer, the everyday connection. And we have to have that too. We got to be connected to God. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about Anna as an example of a woman who connected deeply with God, because you know that she literally she could have been, like I said, she could have been bitter. She could have, not chosen that life, but she chose the life of being in that just in God's presence all the time and serving God in that way. And then of course when she met Jesus, which was probably the best, I'm pretty much guaranteeing it was the best day of her life. She was all like spreading the good news about Jesus right there, right away. And talk about our duties, right? As a disciple of Jesus, as a prophetess, is we got to be talking about Jesus too. And how are we going to talk about Jesus if we're not in our Bible? Like, we got to know what we're talking about, right? We don't have to be like super knowledgeable of every single thing in the Bible right away. When you're a new Christian, you're like still learning. And even as an older Christian, you're still learning. So it's not like you have to be like this super academically, prepared, but you got to be in there. You have to, your faith has to be built up by reading the message, by hearing the message. You can do it audible too, audio, if that's easier. Or you can even listen to Bible podcasts as well. That's enriching. Those are awesome. But at the point is that you're reading the scriptures every day and you are connecting with God and you're praying to God. She was an amazing example of a devoted person, a devoted woman of God, devotion. That's what we call the devotionals, right? We do devotionals, we do Bible study. I call it Bible study better because I feel like that is more of a in-depth word. But sometimes you may call it a devotional, but just be sure that you're not just like, 1 minute, quick little, like, I'm just going to read this quick devotional. Unless, of course, you have really, really a certain day of that you're just, it's really an amazing, exceedingly busy day. That's fine. You got to get something in, right? But when you're devoted to God, you are like, think about Anna, right? Like, I know that we don't have that kind of schedule, most of us, but the idea is that her heart was devoted. She was a devoted woman Okay, sisters. So I wanted to present her to you today and just really dig deep into her being an example of a woman who was devoted, who was dedicated to God. And again, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I want to help you to become that woman. I believe God has given me this calling to help women through this podcast already, just through this podcast alone, just by listening in, pressing the little plus button. If you're on Apple or listening to Apple Podcasts, you can subscribe by following me. If you're on Spotify, you can do the same follow. And of course, there's many other stations and places that you can follow a podcast nowadays as well. And I also have my YouTube channel, which the audio goes on there as well. So, sister, I want to tell you that I love, this is what I love to do. I love teaching. My full-time job is I'm a full-time teacher, if you don't know already. I love it. I'm a public schools teacher. It is my passion. I still love teaching, but I love teaching, period. So I love teaching women. And now I want to use my coaching skills as well. I've coached as well before, but now my focus is on Bible study routines and deeper connections with God. So I want to bring that to you. So shoot me an email if you want to more directly at coachwithrosie@gmail.com. If you ever want to just get in touch and just chat in an email, that's fine too. I would love to connect with you there in the group, of course, in the community, or theintentionalchristianwomen.com right on the website. Okay, sister? I hope to see you if you're listening on Monday. I hope to see you tomorrow on Tuesday, August 1st in the group. It's not too late. Join. If you're listening to this as a recording, you can still join and listen in and watch the workshop and come out just with so much value and just ready to put things to practice so that you can start a consistent or maybe revamp. Maybe you've had it but then have lost it. You want to revamp a consistent Bible study routine and reconnect with God in a deeper way. I love you, sister, and I will see you in the next one.
Hey sister, if this episode encouraged or blessed you in some way, then the best thing you can do is share it with a friend. Also, I would love it if you join me in my Facebook community, Intentional Bible Study for Christian Women. There is an amazing sisterhood, encouraging one another and praying for each other. And sister, if you've ever thought about connecting deeper with God through a consistent, powerful, and uniquely designed Bible study routine that works just for you and your time needs, look no further, because I am your mentor and friend and your coach, and I can help you. All you need to do is write me at coachwithrosie@gmail.com. You can connect with me there, or you can check out theintentionalchristianwoman.com for more details. Lastly, if you haven't done so yet, I would invite you to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. This is the way that I know this show is blessing you. My sister, I love you. Know that I'm praying for you, and I will see you in the next one.